Good morning, everyone. We are so excited you're here for this class. My name's Anna. This is Victoria. We work at Lyft. I do want to point out that we're going to show you how to work the Lyft app and kind of the way it works and how to order rides. But we do want to point out that there are lots of rideshare alternatives out there. We're just really excited to share Lyft with you today. So Lyft is a rideshare app which allows you to request a ride whenever you need one. This is a role that a lot of you have probably gotten used to taxis filling, but Lyft is a really cool new initiative. It's based out of San Francisco, so this is started as a local company. And so we want to show you first off a video that will explain a little bit about Lyft and how Lyft works. Great, and so we wanted to point out that anyone who has a smartphone is able to use the Lyft platform. There are a lot of things that kind of differentiate work. Thank you. There are a lot of things that kind of set Lyft head and shoulders above other traditional ride services that you may have used in the past. One of the things that gets us really excited about Lyft is that it's a safe platform. Everything is done without cash, and so that protects you when you're in that ride experience. We're going to show you a little bit later that how to add a credit or debit card to the app if you decide to download Lyft today. That means that any ride fares are charged directly to your card, and there's no exchange of money with the driver, which makes it a much safer system, both for you and for the driver. We also have really high standards for the people who are allowed to drive for Lyft. Anyone who applies as a driver for Lyft actually has to go through multiple background checks. They have to go through a driving record check. They also have to go through a criminal background check. And so the people who are in these cars transporting your friends, your family, or you are people who've been vetted by the company to make sure that it's a positive experience on your side. The other big advantage to Lyft is that it's reliable. How many of you have ordered a taxi to go to the airport or to get to a meeting and the taxi doesn't show up right when you'd order it? You start to get a little bit nervous about missing your flight. Lyft is really great because when you order a ride, you can actually see the driver that will be picking you up. You'll see a picture of them, you'll know exactly what car is coming to pick you up, and you'll see their progress towards getting to where you're getting picked up. So you'll be able to see, oh, this driver's 10 blocks away, I should start heading out the door. The other really great advantage of the Lyft system is you can actually schedule rides. So if you know that you have a flight and you need to get to the airport by 5 a.m., you can schedule the ride at 4:30 in the morning, and that takes one less thing off your plate as you're trying to get ready. I use this service every day after work. That way I can say, oh, gotta go, my ride's here. So that's a great option as well. And then lastly, it's super convenient to use Lyft. A ride is only a tap away at any hour of the day or night. This is not a service that is only available during the workday. If you need to get home because your car has a flat tire at 1 a.m., if you order a Lyft ride, you know that someone's on the way to pick you up. Okay, so there are multiple different types of Lyft. Once we start downloading this on our phones, I'll be able to show this to you as well. But there's a ride for every type of service that you need. There are 4 types of rides with Lyft. The first one in the bottom here is Premier, which is a luxury car service. If you order this vehicle, like if you need a ride in style to a special event, then you're going to be getting something that's kind of high end. You'll look pretty swanky showing up to an event in a car that's Premier. So these could be BMWs, they could be Mercedes, but it's definitely a stylish way of getting around. A Plus vehicle is a room for 6. So if you're heading with your family to an event or to go out to eat, if you order a Plus ride, you know that you'll have room for everybody to pile into it. The most common service that people use is actually the regular Lyft, which is just like you're used to ordering a taxi, you're ordering the car for yourself. You can change the destination multiple times if you have errands that you need to run and you need a ride around. And the last type of ride is a line ride, which is something that was designed to bring communities together. As more and more people move to San Francisco, it gets a little bit easier to feel like we don't know our neighbors. And line rides are a carpool service where you can put in the specific destination where you're headed, and if any other riders in the area are headed to that same destination, you'll also be picking them up. So these types of rides, the line rides, tend to come at a little bit cheaper cost than a regular Lyft because they may take a little bit longer because you might be picking up someone else. But I've met some really interesting people in line rides. I met someone who was on America's Got Talent. I have met a celebrity on a line ride. And so line rides are a really great way of feeling like we're still all together and connected in this community.
What we're going to do now is talk about the app itself. Does everyone here have a smartphone that they can use? Now, you don't have to download it if you don't want to, but if you would like to, it is a free app that you can download on your phone. Okay? If you have an Android phone, you would go to the Play Store in your phone. You would open it up and search for Lyft. If you have an iPhone, you would go to the Apple Store, search for Lyft, and just download it. So this is a free app. So if you are interested in following along, you can, or if you want to take notes and maybe do it later on.
Anyone need help? Find the app.
Here.
Yes.
What did we have? Where is the Apple Store?
Apple Store? It's,
Does anybody else need help?
We will also have time to help you one-on-one as well. Anna will walk around and help you download the app. But basically, the first step is just opening your phone and looking for either the Apple Store if you have an iPhone or the Google Play Store if you have an Android phone. And again, this is a free app. So if you want to download it during the workshop and delete it later, it's totally up to you.
we have a question here.
Yes.
Just asking if Lyft only here in San Francisco or if it's nationwide.
It's a really good question. It is nationwide. So it operates in all of the United States. San Francisco is the first market and one of the busiest markets that we have. So you're likely to get a Lyft within minutes, within 2 minutes sometimes, but you can use it in other states, definitely. Okay. So once you've downloaded the app, is anyone still waiting for it to load, or? No? Maybe. That there may or may not be a code in there in the presentation.
Anybody else still need a hand?
Okay.
Forget his Apple ID.
Oh, that happens, yeah. Okay. You can also take notes if you don't want to download it right now, but you think you might in the future. Okay. Do we have a question? Okay. Okay, so if you do have the app open and you've downloaded it, the first step would be to log into your app. Now, the app does not use a traditional login with a password. It's actually kind of cool. All you have to do is put in the phone number to the phone where you're logging in, and it'll send you a 4-digit code to your text messages. So you're basically getting a new password every time.
That makes it so you don't have to remember it.
Yeah. Yeah. You just have to make sure that you log in on the phone that's connected to your account. So the phone number. The phone number matters. So if you need to change a phone number, you would just write into our help center and they have to do it for you. Yeah.
You also, if you have Facebook set up on your phone, you can also log in with your Facebook credentials as well. You just click that button and it'll walk you through to the app.
Which is even easier to do. Yeah. But you don't have to have a Facebook to have the Lyft account, to have a Lyft account. Okay, so like I said, what you would do is enter your phone number and then you would check your text messages and you would get a 4-digit code. Now this is a text thread of me logging in several times, but you would basically just get one text message. Yeah, I heard the text, yeah. One of you may have just gotten it. With a 4-digit code, you take that 4-digit code and enter it into the Lyft app. So you just have to toggle between your text and the Lyft app. But once you do that, it'll send you right into the Lyft app. So again, no need to create a password and have to remember the password. And like, if you're like me, forget the password every time. Okay. Now, when you're starting your Lyft account, there are a few things that you may need to set up on your phone. For instance, the Lyft app, like other ride-sharing apps, they need to be able to access the location, so the GPS system on your phone. So a message like this might pop up. This is an example taken from an iPhone. So it'll ask you if you allow Lyft to access your location while using the app. Now, in order to use the app, you have to allow the location services to be accessed. Okay, so you would just click allow. I believe on Android phones, they ask a similar question. You just have to make sure your location services are turned on for the Lyft app. Because if not, then we won't know where you are and we can't pick you up.
Keep in mind, this Lyft very much values your privacy, so it will only ever track your location while you are using the app. If you are not using the app, if it's closed on your phone, or if you're not in a ride, it is not tracking your location.
And you can also allow for push notifications. Now on an iPhone, that basically just means that anytime there's an alert from Lyft or a new promotion or anything, it'll pop up on your phone. You don't have to allow them. I personally don't, but if you don't mind things popping up on your phone, you could allow push notifications.
Anybody need help? Doing stuff?
Now, when you're in your Lyft account, your brand new Lyft account, okay, you will need to set up your payment information so that you can pay for your rides. So I'll just show you how to do that. Everything that you need to do in your app is basically going to be in 2 different places. One would be your picture icon. That's mine. Okay, and that's basically your menu button. If you click on the picture icon, it'll give you a drop down with different options. The most important thing is, in order to be able to start using the Lyft app, is to set up your payment method. So you click on payment, and it'll bring you over to a new screen where you add a credit or debit card where you will be charged for the ride. And you would enter the information just as you would for online shopping or anything like that. You put your debit card number or credit card number, the expiration date, the code on the back, and your zip code. Then the app will save this payment information and charge you when you use the app to call for rides or to call rides. Now, if your card expires or you lose your card, just remember to go back in there and update your payment information.
Payment can use the PayPal.
You can set up a PayPal account. Yes. Yeah. It's a good question.
Do you link the PayPal to credit card?
Yes.
So don't need to explore the.
Definitely. We do have a PayPal option. You're right.
Okay.
Thanks for reminding us about that. Another thing, if you look at the drop-down menu, some cool things to note about the Lyft app is that it saves your ride history. So every time you take a ride with the Lyft app, you will see, you won't see all of the information from your ride, but you'll see the picture of the driver and the price of your ride and the mileage of your ride. So all of your history would be saved in here as well. There's also a place in the drop-down menu for promotion. So when you get a code today, because we will be giving you a code for your first Lyft ride, you would enter it here in promos. There's also a help button. So if you need to, for example, change your phone number that's linked to your account, you would go here and send us an email through the help center. We also have a settings button if you need to change any of your information as well.
There's also a really neat function if you ever did leave something in the car, forget an item, you can automatically send a message directly to that driver to coordinate the return of your item. So if you leave a wallet in the car, if you leave your phone in the car, you're now able to get it back.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
So that would be in the ride.
That's a good question.
We're anticipating. Like, if you go to the ride history and select the ride that you took, you'll be able to recognize the driver's face because it does still show the face of the driver. You can click on it and there's a button for I lost an item. That way you're able to communicate directly with the driver. Another thing I'd like to point out is that the driver never has access to your personal information. So if you call the driver, or if the driver calls you, that number is disguised. So they'd never be able to contact you after the ride. It's 100% safety for passengers and for drivers to protect your personal information.
So how do we know that, right?
So you click on the ride history, choose the ride.
The number that he gives us is not directly to him, but
It does go directly to him, but it masks it. It uses like an alias, a disguise number, so that your personal number is never showing on their phone.
So we want to show you using our own Lyft app, what it looks like to order a ride. We're just waiting for someone to help us set that up.
What is the bottom switch to drive to drive?
Oh, okay, that's a really good question too. So there's also a function here where you could switch to driver. Now, currently our Lyft app has two functions, for passengers and for drivers. Now, if you want to be a driver, you could switch. If you hit your picture, the very bottom of the drop-down menu, you see a switch to driver option. Click on that, and it'll take you to the driver side of the app where you can apply to be a driver. Now, if you go through the application process and you become approved, then this is where you would go to start driving and using the app as a driver.
Excuse me, can I
Yes,
ask a
of
question?
course.
Can you request the gender of the driver? If I prefer a female driver, is that possible?
Unfortunately not. I mean, we laugh, but that is a real concern for women, and I totally can identify with your question. No, we can't do that. And most of our drivers, I forget what the statistic is.
30% of our drivers are women.
Yes.
And
So you will see lady drivers out there.
You have a fairly high probability of getting a female driver, but unfortunately there's no way to request.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now to the fun part. So many of you have probably been wondering how to even request a ride using the app. So I'm going to be using my own app on my phone to show you how to do this. Now, as you can see here, this is when you open the app, this is typically what it will look like. It'll give you a GPS map of where you are. And down here, when I click on it, you put your location, okay? So we are at the San Francisco Public Library. You don't always need the exact address of your location. If you're at a store or a restaurant, or like here we're at the San Francisco Public Library, you could just type in the name of your location and it'll find it on the map. Now, if you're at home, you know your home may not have a name, so you have to put in the address. Okay, so this is my pickup location. If I want to go from here back to our offices in Potrero Hill, I would say, okay, this is my pickup. Let's set the pickup. And now I will add my destination. So where do I want to go? I'm going to go to my job. And I already have in my app set up my home and my work address so that it's quick and I could just toggle home or work because those are the main places that I go to. So you can actually set it up that way where you have your home address saved and it'll be saved under home. Your work address will be saved under work. And those will show up as the first two locations. Okay, so I requested a regular Lyft ride. That means that I don't want to share my ride with anyone else. I just want to get from where I'm going or from the library to work because maybe I'm on a time crunch. I need to make it to a meeting. So this is really good if you are more worried about time, okay? You pick a regular Lyft ride. And it'll tell you a few different things. Number one, it'll tell you the price. So it'll be, I have a promotion attached. So regularly it'll be $9.79 to get from here, Civic Center, the Civic Center area, to Potrero Hill, which really isn't too bad. And it'll show me what card it's going to charge to, okay? So, and also it'll tell you how many vehicles, are in the area, okay?
It's also going to show you the estimated time that you'd have to wait for the ride. So you see on this pin it says 2 minutes, which means that when I order the ride, I won't have to wait very long at all for the ride to show up to pick me up.
Okay.
Does it tell you how many minutes it takes you from one spot to another?
It will tell you that actually after you request the ride.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Another really fun feature about the regular Lyft ride is that you have a 2-stop option. So if you look down here at the plus sign, you can add a second stop. So let's say I'm going from the library and I want to go grab lunch and then go to work. I can add a second stop. Let's see. Let's say I want to go to Starbucks. Okay, and then I want to go to work. So the driver will know that I'm going to make 2 stops. They'll stop at the first place. I'll get out, do what I need to do. Of course, inform your driver about how long you plan on taking, and then come back to the car. And then the meter will run the whole time, but you do get a 2-stop option. You don't have to wait for a driver the second time around. Then you go to your last destination. So what I'm going to do is I will actually request a ride so that you could see what it looks like. And then I'll have to cancel it right away, okay? I'm worried because it's a 1-minute ET. It's okay. I'll get in trouble later, it's fine. Okay. Okay, so right now I've requested the ride, and this says optimizing route. So what the Lyft system is doing is figuring out who is the closest driver heading in that direction. Okay, so we know that Jose will pick me up in 1 minute in a Toyota Prius, but he won't. He's okay. He'll be fine. I had to do it quickly because he was around the corner. But he'll pick you up, within the time that it says, about a minute. Did you see that he was really close? Yeah, okay. And then he would take me to my first stop, which would be Starbucks, and then to my job. Okay. Any questions about this?
Where does it say 1 minute?
Right there.
So right here, this was the
The
destination.
big blue.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when we put in the address of getting picked up, that's always going to be the purple or blue dot, and it's going to have the estimate there. Now the pink dot, if we
I don't think it'll show it right now. Oh, right there.
right there. So the pink dot was the destination where I wanted to be dropped off. After that ride is requested and it matches you with a driver, you would also see a number here, which would be the estimate of how long it would take you to get to that destination.
Okay, but that's for the San Francisco area. Say, for example, that we are going to Los Angeles and we would like to have sort of, a summarized sort of route to go to West LA to a particular function. Of course, Lyft is only for the San Francisco area.
It's actually for all of the United States. So we actually could we try that? Like put in Los Angeles Airport?
Mm-hmm. Now, just a disclaimer, you technically can't order a Lyft from San Francisco to LA. there is a maximum fare amount. Because Lyft was designed to be more of a community-centered rideshare company, we're not designed to drive really far, but we will we'll set our pickup in LAX. Let's see.
But they can redestinate, right? I've had it done, travel a long distance, they can stop, redestinate.
You can try that. You can re-request, yeah. Let's see.
the charge the rate is different, right? Because you're between the San Francisco and the LA, the rate.
So
Should
Lyft-
it's different in city, in the city, right?
Yeah, so rates can vary a little bit from
Yeah.
city to city. It's not a big difference in
Oh.
rate. A Lyft ride is always going to be charged based on the minutes and the miles
Yeah.
of the ride, just like any normal
okay.
like ride experience that you've had. But those rates can vary a little bit from city to city.
Okay, so now if we were to request a ride from the LAX airport that tells you the terminal and exactly where your car will pick you up. Let's say we want to go to the West LA College. It'll show you here your pickup approximate time would be 11:29. I'm not going to request it because it's too far of a request. But it would then tell you how long it'll take the driver to get to you, and then how long it'll take for you to get to your destination.
And it will also, okay, so departure terminal 5-6, that's where Lyft has like an actual pickup or
That's
departing.
That's where
Information station, courtesy station?
Lyft does not have a courtesy station there. At the airports, drivers are only allowed to pick up in certain areas, usually in the departures. So we communicate to drivers where they're allowed to pick up, and we communicate to passengers where we can pick them up. So it matches, right, the departures. So at I'm sorry?
Maybe like set a destination, pick up somebody that doesn't have a phone or a good application or call
So-
a ride for someone else.
There
Go
is
ahead.
actually a way if a person has a Lyft account, but say they lost their phone and they need a ride. First, you do have to have an account set up because they have to have a form of payment set in, but you can actually request the ride from an internet browser as well. So if you have your laptop in front of you, oh my goodness, I left my phone on BART, I don't have my phone right now, but I need a ride. You can request it from a computer and then just wait for the ride, or alternately request it for someone
There's no
else.
phone like you call a taxi.
No.
Unfortunately, as of now, there is no like phone line to be able to call. Because Lyft doesn't work on a dispatch system.
Yeah.
And the actual vehicle has like a big signage that says Lyft.
Exactly. So there will be Lyft stickers in both the front and back windows of the car. Those can be either pink or white. And most drivers now have actually a light in their front dash. You may have seen them on the street. That's a really great safety feature in addition to making it easier to find the vehicle, because when you request the ride, in your app itself, it's going to tell you what color that light will be flashing. So if there are multiple Lyfts in a row and they're all silver Priuses, you know I need to get in the one that has the blue light. So that way, when they start the ride, it actually is going to greet you by name on the back of that light so that you know that you're in the right car and that you're headed to the right destination.
Could you show the sticker on the car, left the lift car?
What the sticker looks like?
Yeah, looks like.
We don't have that. We should have brought that. We can search it online and show it
And
to you
the
towards the end of
identifying
the
badge
presentation.
for the drivers, can you show it?
So there isn't actually a badge that they would be wearing. It's
Yeah.
the photo that you'll see in your phone itself is associated with that driver. So we're very strict about the photos that are taken. It has to be a close-up on their face so that you actually know the person looks like the person I'm waiting for.
Okay, like, say for example, oh, you know, I left my, my book bag and my handbag and all my valuables and all my money in the vehicle. Can you tell me please where the station is? Because I can't waste time, you know, I mean, what would I do in that situation?
You all have the mic. Do you want to answer?
If you lose an item,
Yeah, like, you know, my bag with all my valuables and all my belongings and the only money that I have, I've left in the Lyft vehicle. you
okay,
know,
including your phone maybe.
Yeah.
What you would do is you could go on an internet browser on any computer, go to lyft.com, go to the help center and write us a quick email. And our lost and found team is pretty good about getting back to you really quickly. And then they would locate the driver or contact the driver and have the driver either bring it back to you or bring it to the San Francisco hub, which is actually where we work, where we have a lost and found drop-off. And then we would contact you and say your stuff is here, you can pick it up, or we can mail it to you.
If you do have your phone on you still, though, this is where it's really great to be able to alert the driver instantly as to, I left something in your car, I need it back. And you would do that, as I mentioned before, if you go to your ride history.
Go ahead.
If you go to your ride history, wait for it to load, it's going to show you the photo, so it's loading. It's going to show you the photo of the driver that most recently took you. It's show you the date, the time of the ride. For example, this last ride, if we clicked on that, it's going to show me, remind me the times, what the route looked like. And if I scroll down, there's this button here for find lost item. If I click on that, I'm able to instantly message the driver, let them know that I've left something in the car and it's important that I get it back as soon as possible. Again, that phone number is disguised, so they're not going to be able to contact you again in the future, but they will be able to respond to you and coordinate pickup. There's also another button for get help if that didn't elicit a response immediately. You could also click that button and reach the help Lyft support to help you with the request.
What about tip driver?
So Lyft, unlike other rideshare companies, we do give you as a passenger the option to tip your driver, and whatever you tip them, 100% of those tips go to the driver.
Otherwise he doesn't get paid?
No, he gets his fare.
Oh, but there's no tip built in?
No, it's not built in. You have the option to tip the driver.
But can you pay him cash as tip?
No,
No?
but we were completely 100% cashless up until recently. We've given passengers now the option to give a cash tip. You can't pay for the ride in cash, but we now allow passengers to give a cash tip.
Okay. So
Or you can do it in the app.
in the app.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But that's a very new feature, so a lot of people don't know about it. Yeah. Another thing I did want to show you is that your different ride options. So as Anna was mentioning to you earlier, we have Lyft Line. So if you open your app, this is what you'll see. Okay, this is the first screen you'll see. It might look like that. You just click on this button here, and it'll give you the types of ride, the options that you have. So if you wanted to request a premier car, which are, like we said earlier, the higher end, more luxurious cars, if you want to request a plus ride. So for example, for my dad's birthday recently, my whole family wanted to go to a Giants game. So I ordered a plus ride so that we could all fit. So there were 5 of us. So I couldn't call a regular Lyft because the maximum seats are 4 in a car. So a plus ride will call a vehicle that is usually a minivan or an SUV that has 7 seat belts in it, 1 for the driver and 6 for the passengers. So it's a good option for like a family outing, or if you have a few friends with you and you want to go somewhere. So that's a really good option for that. Then you have Lyft Classic or a regular Lyft, which you can ride by yourself or with a few friends, up to 4 people. And that'll be your pickup to your drop-off, and you have the option to change the destination during the ride, like we did that earlier today. We were going to go grab coffee before, and then there was a little more traffic than we expected. So in the app, we were able to change the route directly to the library instead of stopping at a cafe, which we had originally intended. And we just told the driver, hey, we're going to change the destination really quick, and it was no problem. The GPS just reroutes. Or you have Lyft Line, which is a more, usually the fares are cheaper for Lyft Line, but you will most likely be sharing the ride with another person. So if I call a Lyft Line here at the library and I want to go back to Potrero Hill, where our offices are, but I call a line instead of a regular Lyft, there is a chance that we will go off the route to pick someone else up who is going in a similar direction than I am, which is a really good option if you don't want to spend too much on your ride. They're typically in the city. I usually get them for between $4 and $8 or $9, depending on where I'm going. But just know that if you're on a time crunch, that might not be your best option because there is a chance that 1 or 2 other pickups could happen on your route.
I have a question about the 4th seat.
Yes.
If I'm coming from an international flight at the SFO, if I want to order, it's 4 of us.
Yeah.
So how many luggage is fit in the trunk?
So that is something that you have to kind of think about as a passenger. if you have 4 people with you and you know that each person has a large piece of luggage, the best option would be to call a plus ride, because you're going to get either a minivan or an SUV, a larger SUV.
Okay. What's the price difference between the two?
It really depends on how long your ride is, but it's, let me see.
A plus ride is 1.5 times
Okay.
the cost of a regular ride. So if a regular ride would cost $10, in a plus vehicle would be $15.
Okay, thank you. Then you had a question?
Yeah, how much is the price difference between the line and the Lyft?
The line and the Lyft?
Yeah.
Well, for regular Lyft, there is a base fare, right, of $2 in San Francisco. Am I correct, driver?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Plus mileage and distance, and the mileage in San Francisco, I believe, is $1.15, and the per minute is about 22 cents. For the line ride, what we charge the passengers, I'm sorry, maybe can you take this one?
Yes.
I'm getting it mixed up.
A line ride is typically a third to a half of the cost of a regular ride.
But we can check
Not
it.
sorry, a third, 2/3 to half the cost. So a normal ride might cost you $6. If you take a line ride, it may be $4. So it's great, especially for longer distances. So when I travel from the East Bay to work because my car broke down, if I took a regular ride, that would have cost me maybe $35, but I took a line ride and it cost $17. So at that point, it was about half. And it can help save money, but you do have to have a little bit of leeway with your time because it may take a little bit longer.
So earlier, okay, sorry. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just asking about the interior room. So, or just that they are mostly Priuses.
Yeah.
You know, for line and Lyft, is there a chance that I might end up being in the center seat if there are other passengers? Because
There's
my
a,
legroom and headroom are concerned, I've noticed.
Yeah.
At the auto show.
there's a chance. I will say the maximum number of pickups in a line ride is 3. So you'd never be matched with more people than would fit in the car. Most of the time when I order a line ride, I get the front seat if I know I'm traveling alone. If someone's traveling with 2 people in a line ride, because you can order for 2 people in that shared carpool ride, those are the ones that tend to automatically take the middle seat because they know each other. So it has happened, but it's not very frequent.
I wanted to go back to your first question. Can we start there? So looking at the price difference, earlier I did a regular Lyft from here, the library, to our offices in Potrero Hill, and it was $9.89. Don't worry about the $0. That's just because I have credits on my account. But the $5.68, so on a line, a carpool shared line, it's about $4 less. So to show you the price difference.
In addition to that question, you said maximum for line is 3 passengers, right? So if in a family there are 3 who wanted to use the line, so can they order a line or they have to go to the Lyft?
The maximum to be picked up, the maximum pickup is 2.
Only 2, so
Yeah.
they have to go to the next.
Yeah. If you have more than 2 passengers, you have to choose a Lyft,
A regular.
a regular Lyft.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to know the difference between the regular Lyft and the luxury.
The luxury. So really the main difference is just the type of car that could pick you up. So the luxury vehicles, those rides cost about twice as much as a regular ride. But in that case, you're guaranteed to have a car that has leather seats. It may have a sunroof.
Could it be a town car?
It could be a town car. It could be a Mercedes. We have a lot of Mercedes in the Premier program.
Like electrical or hydro?
It doesn't matter if it's electric or hybrid. If that's the case, is really more like higher end vehicles.
Okay. I have a case. I mean, I don't know how to use Lyft yet,
Yeah.
but I rode with my daughter. We were in Menlo Park, no, San Mateo, and we wanted to go to Menlo Park, and she requested Lyft, regular, and it showed up a beautiful Mercedes.
Sometimes that can happen.
And so I really don't know even the price she paid, but I mean, can it happen that she requests a regular and show up a beautiful leather seat?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Our
that can happen.
Really,
Yeah. So to show you the price difference,
but what's supposed to be the pay? She's supposed to pay the luxury?
she pays whatever she requested. So if she paid the regular Lyft, so I can talk about that. Our drivers have the option to choose. So if they have a car, a premier vehicle or luxury vehicle that is on our approved list, they're a premier driver. But they have the option to do premier only rides. So that means that when they get matched with someone, it's someone who requested a premier ride, or they have the option to do premier plus regular Lyft and Lyft line. So it's possible, like that happened to us actually when we got picked up in the morning. We got picked up, we requested a regular Lyft because we were on a time crunch, so we knew we needed to get here. We didn't do Lyft line, but we were picked up in a nice Audi, an Audi. It was really nice, very new vehicle, and it was leather seats. So it's actually a premier car, but we got the regular Lyft rate for that ride. Okay. Had we chosen a premier to get from here, let's see, we were choose a premier car from here to our offices just to show the same distance. It's a $20.87 ride compared to the regular Lyft, which was about $9, close to $10, and the Lyft line, which was $5.
I have another question.
Yes, and then you.
In relation to the line ride, so if you are the first caller, like you said, there are a maximum of 3 passengers. If I would be the first caller for a line ride, so would my cost be higher than the second or the third rider?
Not necessarily. It really depends on the distance between your pickup and your drop off. Yeah.
It's like prorated.
That's how they calculate it.
What about the order?
It's okay.
What about the order? For example, if I am picked up first and somebody else arrive later, should I supposed to be drop off first?
Not necessarily. They try to make it, Lyft tries to match with the most efficient route possible. So if you're getting picked up first, but your drop off is further, and that second person is only going maybe a mile, so they may get dropped off before you. So that's another thing to think about when you're choosing line over Lyft, regular Lyft, is that there's a possibility that your ride may take longer than had you chosen a regular Lyft. You had a question?
You already covered this, but what's the maximum charge and distance that the driver can take you?
So the maximum fare is $200. So if your distance is further than the cost of $200 for a regular Lyft, then you need, right, but it, right.
It would be really difficult to hit that, though.
Would he ever go out?
They shouldn't. We asked them not to because we can't compensate them for more than the 200. So no, but you can finish the ride and request someone else. Right.
The reason it would be really hard to hit that 200 though, because from here to Sacramento Airport is about $100. So you would have to be going really far to be able to hit that 200.
Probably have to arrange something personally between you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Accident do happen. Just in case there is a car accident while riding a Lyft, how is the responsibility, the liability on insurance?
Okay, so Lyft covers our drivers and our passengers up to $1 million. We have $1 million coverage.
Anything.
Anything
is 1 million.
Yeah, if you get hurt during the accident, we will cover that.
1 million, okay.
Our drivers are covered when they have passengers in the car under our insurance as well. So if it's a matter of how to report the accident, if your driver should be reporting the accident, that is their responsibility. But if for whatever reason if it's a minor accident, but it's still significant enough to report, you can always let us know, and then we contact the driver, and we have them. Lyft takes care of it.
Any other questions?
Does anyone still need help setting up their app on their phone? Yes.
Let me see if I understood. For example, if I see a Lyft stop, I cannot approach, even if I have my credit card, I cannot approach the driver.
No.
It's not going to pick me up.
Our drivers are not allowed to hail rides. Basically, that just means like a regular taxi. You could just, wave a taxi down. Lyft is not designed that way. It has to all be through the app. There's many reasons for that. In order for us to protect you with that, insurance, we need to know who you are and be able to contact you. So it's to protect you as a passenger and them as a driver. We can't protect our drivers if they pick someone up or our passengers if our driver picks someone up from the street and they're not connected through the app. So we don't know who you are. It's just, we're not designed that way. Yeah.
That also is for your protection because that way, when you request the ride, you know you're getting a driver who is approved to drive for Lyft and not someone who just has stickers in their windows. It would be hard for them to come by those stickers, I'm pretty sure, but just as an extra security measure, you know you're getting someone who's gone through background checks and who has a minimum star rating of 4.6 stars. We have a really high standard for our drivers as far as ratings go. They need to keep their ratings up to continue driving with Lyft. And that guarantees that you have a positive experience when using the platform.
What about cars, model and age?
Yeah, vehicles that are allowed on the Lyft platform have to be 2005 or newer. They have to have 4 doors and at least 4 seatbelts for passengers in order to be on the platform.
How many hours is the maximum the working hours for the driver?
So we have a maximum per day. Most drivers are actually part-time drivers.
Yeah.
85% of drivers who work for Lyft actually are part-time. So they drive on weekends or after work to make some extra money. The maximum amount of time that a driver is allowed to be connected on the platform in a 24-hour period is 14 hours. So they absolutely have to take 10 hours of those off to rest so that they're not driving sleep deprived.
14 hours.
14 hours.
Oh, this is longer.
It's
For safety reasons. This is longer.
Okay.
Excuse me, a question. So if a Lyft driver has a collision with another car, this other private car can request protection for the $1 million?
So drivers are using their own vehicles to drive for Lyft. Their vehicle undergoes an inspection to make sure that it's up to standards. But whatever vehicle that they have connected to their account is covered by that insurance when they're driving and have passengers in the car. Lots of drivers have multiple cars, and so they add each car, but each car has to go through the inspection, and they have to choose that car before starting to drive so that the license plate that you see in your app is the correct one.
No, but I'm talking about the other car. The other car who, let's pretend, has been impacted.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So the $1 million coverage protects the driver, protects the passengers, protects the driver's car, protects third-party cars, and any other thing that could get damaged in the incident.
Question.
Yes.
What about the background check of the driver and then the grounds for violation? Just curious about that.
So there's, like I said, there's 2 different types of background checks that drivers go through. The first one is a driving record check. We have lots of things that will disqualify a driver from being accepted on the Lyft platform. They can't have 3 or more minor violations, and they can have had no major moving violations, and that can go back for their entire driving history. So if someone has ever in their lives had a DUI, they will never be a Lyft driver. So it's something really important to protect. The other type of background check that people go through is a criminal background check. Any sort of crime that would disqualify them from being safely around passengers, that also weeds people out as well. So they have to pass both of those background checks, and those are rerun periodically to make sure that there haven't been any violations since they started driving for Lyft.
What about the medical? I know the muley driver, they're required to do a medical exam every 2 years, whatever, by the muley department. What about Lyft?
We don't require a medical exam for our drivers. So that's not a requirement.
And there's no age limit for a driver.
They have to be
work for you?
21.
I mean, the maximum
No.
age.
No.
No.
They just have to have
So
a
they
good
can
driving
be
record.
80 years old.
Oh yeah,
They
and
still
we
can
do
drive.
have
We do have some older drivers
Yeah.
as well,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's important to, if they had a medical condition that would prevent them from getting a driver's license in the first place, they
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to drive. So, same thing if they have corrective lenses or if they have some sort of condition, like if they're able to get a driver's license and their driving record is clear, then they would be able to be a driver.
And another thing I did want to know, since you're asking a lot of questions about drivers, I think something that's really important to know about your drivers is that they are independent contractors. So they're not employees of the company. They're actually running their own businesses. We provide them, a certain set of guidelines so that we can protect our passengers and them as well. But also, we provide them the app, okay? And we make sure that the car is in condition to drive, like Anna was saying. But they are independent contractors. So they are running their own businesses. And some, I wish we would have brought pictures, but some of our drivers like to have themes in their car. We have a very famous Lyft driver by the name of DJ Disco Lyft. And he, he's actually a DJ during his spare time, and he likes to make his car like a music theme. There are other drivers who have a lot of stuffed animals in their car, and that's their theme. What are some other ones? We have a lot.
There's karaoke Lyft.
Yeah, there's
So you might
karaoke.
get into that one at some point, and they'll ask you to sing along if you want to. There's Giants Lyft. The car is entirely decked out in Giants paraphernalia.
Could you ask for a particular?
No,
There's
it's
no way
just
to request it. It's just luck of the draw. So you have an especially lucky day if you get that Easter egg.
Karaoke. Sing me a
Now,
karaoke track.
most of the cars are not like that, but we do have quite a few drivers who will have a theme in their vehicle. Don't be shocked. It is part of the culture, of the Lyft culture, to have that. Yes.
Yeah, speaking of the safety of a passenger, like I had one occasion with another car, like, it's like, the guy is drunk, but, I ordered the ride. So as a passenger, can I choose to get off the car or tell him, that scenario that, you don't want to be feel like you're worried, but then you don't want to annoy the driver. I smell alcohol while driving.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
what would be the scenario for that?
There are several things you can do. Let us know is the first thing. First of all, get out of the vehicle. Ask them to pull over and tell them you just want to stop the ride. You can let us know. We have a critical response line that you would find in the help center. So like we were saying earlier, if you go here to your menu and then go to help, okay, we have the help center. Where it'll need to load, but you will find a way to contact us.
Call right away?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The other option is at the end of every ride, when a ride ends, you actually have the option of rating your driver. If you ever rate someone 3 stars or below, you will never be matched with that driver ever again. So even if you're right next to each other and you request a ride, that ride would not go through to that driver. As you're rating your driver as well, there's also a comments box. So if you think there's anything that we need to know as a company, these are anonymous. They will have no idea that you're the one who put that comment in. But that way Lyft is able to see, was there a problem with this ride? Do we need to reach out to you and get that fixed?
Yeah, that's a good feature.
Yeah, it's very important
Yeah.
because we have very high standards for our drivers. They have to have a 4.6 or higher average rating. Because if they have lower than that, that means they're doing something wrong. So
Yeah, so at the end of your ride, every single ride, you have the chance to rate your driver. There are 5 stars that you can rate them. And we mainly base it off of 4 categories. So one would be friendliness, cleanliness of the vehicle, navigation, how efficient was your route, and safety, how safe was the ride. So you would rate them based on those 4. And in order to be able to request another Lyft ride, you have to finish your rating for that driver. So for every ride that a driver does, they get a rating. And like Anna was saying, they have to maintain a 4.7 and above. Okay, so that's a way for us to just maintain the platform, make sure that our drivers are providing the service that we want them to our passengers.
Can you repeat the 4 conditions?
Yeah, so you rate them based on 4 categories: friendliness, cleanliness, so how clean is the vehicle, navigation, how efficient was your route, and safety. How safe was your ride?
How to schedule a ride?
How do you
Maybe
schedule a ride?
tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
maybe
good
after
question.
tomorrow, yeah.
Let's go back to the app here. Okay. So let's say you know that you and your family wants to go to the airport tomorrow at 8 a.m. Okay? So I'm gonna choose a plus ride because maybe there's 5 of you and you have, or 4 of you and you have luggage. You put your address. I'm just gonna put my work address for now. You could set a pickup. I think the internet is cutting off. Hold on, sorry. Okay, so I'm just gonna set it as a regular Lyft. Do you see this clock right here? Okay, if you click on that, you choose the time, the day and time that you want to schedule your ride. So let's say your flight's at 8, let's say you wanna be picked up at 7. Okay, you confirm the pickup. I'll put SFO. Okay, and then you would schedule your ride. And it'll tell you how much it'll cost. The time gap that we put was between 7 a.m. and 7:10. And you just schedule it, and then you just wait for your ride that day and that time.
When will you see who the driver and what kind of car is going to be?
I believe you see it when you were going to be picked up that morning. You don't see it now, like if I schedule it now, because we're not sure which driver we're going to send to you yet.
Okay, so
Drivers,
the
yeah.
next
Mhm.
morning, before 7? Okay.
Because drivers have the option to, now this is a new feature that we have, they can look through a list of rides that are scheduled and choose the ones that they want to do. So maybe you get a driver because it's early in the morning who may live in the area, wants to do that ride for you.
No more questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
How long is the waiting time period? Like, for example, you know, you are at 4th Street and you could not see where the car is. So, and then, how many minutes is the waiting time before the ride will be canceled or the driver will leave you? Like, I mean, not pick you up.
Oh, okay. So if your driver gets to your destination, or when they get to your destination, they have to tap on a button on their app that says confirm arrival. So they confirm with Lyft that they've arrived at your destination. If you choose a regular Lyft, you as a passenger have 5 minutes from the moment that you're alerted. You get a text message that says your ride is outside, look for this vehicle. Once you get that text message, your 5 minutes, the timer starts, okay? So you have 5 minutes to get, let's say you're at home and you're looking for your keys, you have 5 minutes to do that before you have to be in the vehicle. The driver, if you're not in the vehicle within those 5 minutes, they can cancel the ride.
But you're
Yeah.
charged.
$5.
Yeah, but if you are like on a busy corner and then it seems that you could not like really, you know, the driver could not find you, like, you know, you're across
Yeah.
and the driver is on the other side.
So that can happen frequently, especially in the really busy streets of San Francisco. We do have an option where you can call your driver and let them know exactly where you are, or kind of negotiate. I see that you're over here, I'm on the opposite side of the street. I can cross, or if you can come over, that's.
Okay.
So you can speak to them, and they have their phones mounted. So they're able to still drive and answer, and a lot of them will have a headset. So it's pretty safe for them to be able to pick up the phone. They're not gonna, you know, pick it up like this. They have their phone set up, kind of mounted on their dashboard.
But
Yeah.
they can see my phone number?
No, that's another really good question. We block your number and their number. So we send out like a fake number, a third-party number that's not your actual number or their actual number. So you can't see theirs and they can't see yours. But so the number you do see is not their number. It's just like a fake number that we circulate. Yeah,
That's good. Thank you so much.
yeah, of course.
So thanks,
Thank you for
everyone.
coming.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much.